I'm not a fan of winter. Don't like cold days, don't like short days, don't like the gray, desolate feel that winter exudes. And normally, as soon as they treat the roads here in the St. Louis area, I put away most of my vehicles that I care about because I want to own them for a long time. Like my Sierra, pretty much the only thing that I keep out, my Land Cruiser, which I am meticulous about keeping the salt off of, my BMW wagon that I'm driving now, and my 3/4 ton truck because it's already rusty. Those are the three vehicles I'm relegated to. I don't have anything fun to drive and no manual transmissions. So last year I started to look for something that I could drive through winter that I didn't have as much of an attachment to, something that I wasn't invested in a lot but still checks most of the boxes, something that is fun to drive, manual transmission, hopefully turbocharged. I like turbo vehicles. I know a lot of people don't, but I really like them. And something that I'm familiar working on and have easy part access to. But more importantly, something that is not just a daily beater. Something that I can have fun driving, that I don't feel like I'm being punished by the time of year to drive. So, I bought myself something, and it was cheap. So what did I buy? What are we going to claim as the next, I wouldn't call it a project car. I mean, they're all project cars. This place has some parts in it. So, these are the boxes that need to be checked for said vehicle. Number one, it's got to be a manual. I got to have, if it's fun, it's got to be a manual transmission. Number two, it's got to be something I'm familiar with, something I know how to work on, something that I have parts for, that have easy part access. Number three, it's got to be somewhat fun to drive. I'm not saying that all manual vehicles are the best. I know a lot of people argue that the worst manual is better than the best automatic, but I am a manual purist. I've converted many cars to a manual transmission, but never and would never convert any manuals to an automatic. However, whatever this car is that I will be putting back on the road, it's got to be reliable. So what are you guys thinking? Reliable. It's obviously a turbocharged manual transmission. It's not going to be a Subaru. You guys know that, right? It's, like I said, reliable. Which is kind of ironic because it's a BMW 335. So I got to dig this thing out. But you can see why this car is here. It's got a small oofta right in the left corner. But otherwise, it's not bad. Let's see if we can squeeze in here. 2-door, 6-speed manual, sport interior, and all-wheel drive. So it's a great winter car. This car was very cheap. It's got 170,000 miles on it. When I say it was very cheap, this thing was $700. I know a lot of people think that when I buy a new car, it's like a brag video or I'm bragging about some crazy expensive thing. I drive junk, guys. Like I drive totaled stuff, rebuilt title stuff. I have some nice cars, but I also prefer to drive stuff like this because I got nothing in it and then I don't have to care so much. This thing's been sitting here for a few months. Gonna jump it. Oh, it's only got a couple of the lights on. That's winning. Oh, there's more lights on. Oh, that's just because it had a dead battery. If I do all one of these numbers. That's all the 4x4 stuff. It's got some light malfunctions. That's fine, that's fine. It's all fine. Just don't look at it and it's gonna be fine. Let's get this thing out of this hole so we can look at it. So I bought this car from Insurance Auto Auctions out in, is it in Boston? It's in Massachusetts. And if it's a northeastern car, I know it's gonna have some corrosion and stuff because, you know, they drive them in the winter and they salt the roads excessively out there. I'm sure many of you can attest to that. But looking at this thing, It's really not bad. It's dirty. It's been inside the shop. It was outside the shop for a while. It was at my storage lot for a while. I don't remember that. That looks like that's new. Whatever, I don't care. I'm not trying to rebuild this car to perfection, but for a 2-door manual, turbo, all-wheel drive winter car, this is going to be great. I hope. And I don't have any backstory on this car because it was an auction car. But what I think happened is I think this thing was parked in a parking lot, and either somebody crashed into it, like did one of these numbers, or they did like I clipped it. Now I will say it looks like it has a bent shock with the fender off. I think it's got some camber, and I know some of you guys like that, but that's not the way. So we're probably going to have to fix that. Thank you, compressor. Nice knowing you're still here. The wreck doesn't really look like it did any actual chassis damage. This maybe a little bit in this corner, but I don't see anything. Uh-oh, that looks like it's bent. Oh no, I'm not scared to put this thing back on the road. It's gonna be a bolt off, bolt on process. I just gotta find parts this color. And the inside of the car is pretty decent too. A little bit of wear on the driver's bolster. You know, black interior is a must for me. I don't really like any of the other interior colors on these cars. Outside of that, black interior, 3 pedals, cool engine. What's not to like? Now, of course, if I were to pick one of these cars, I probably wouldn't have bought a black one. Probably would have wanted one without nav because I don't need that nonsense. Don't like screens. Would have liked one with metal trim, all the cool stuff. I don't really care. The goal of this car is to have something that gets reasonable fuel economy, is reasonably reliable, and is more than reasonably fun to drive in inclement weather. And this is it, for not a lot of money either. Now, somewhere here, I'm pretty sure that there is a car with all of the parts that we need. Ah, yes. Here we are. This is a 328. That's not perfect. Got a little divot right there. I don't see any other major damage. I don't know where the grills are. That's new. Well, I thought I had grills on it. Oh well, I got grills on my bumper. I bought this for parts because it too is a manual. But being a 328, I think this thing had some stuff taken apart. Yeah, we're missing some parts. Oh, nice. Bonus. I'll take that. What else did they leave me? Where are the 10 millimeters? Clearly this thing was leaking. Oh well, the video's not about this thing. It's just about getting parts I need, which is this headlight, which appears to be unbolted already. It's unplugged. So I need to get the fender off. I need to get the headlight, the front bumper for the 335. So everything went pretty smooth. I got all the hardware. So I got parts that I probably don't need, but I'd rather have too much than not enough. The only thing that fought me was right here. This spun. This is stuck on here. So I'm going to try to fight that off. I don't think it's going to be a big problem. Everything else came off nice and easy. Yes, you're supposed to pull the entire rocker to get the fender off. But now we're ready, maybe, to go reassemble. I don't always plan my videos. My teardowns are kind of scheduled. I kind of know when I'm going to film them. But for my project cars, stuff that I want to put back together, or my midweek videos, I kind of just fly by the seat of my pants. So I don't know how far I'm going to get on this in this video. I think my hope is that we can get it looking like it's not totaled. I'm not going to do any of the mechanical work. We're not going to get this thing in the air, do the shock, because I think that's what's bent. We're not going to do a once over. That'll probably be in a separate video. I'll do some maintenance. I'm sure it needs it. I just want to make it look like it's not wrecked. That's the goal for today. Well, let's start the teardown. And the hood shocks are good. That's amazing. That's why I'm fixing it. This is my hardware collection bin. Now, if you're wondering why the fender looks like this, these cars, the coupes and convertibles, have fenders made of plastic, which is kind of peculiar. It's not a bad thing, though, because they're kind of flexible as long as it's not too cold out. This is going to be really easy. It's nice to work on one that hasn't been apart before. You know, having all the same size fasteners that are supposed to be there. It's a beautiful thing. I've got, I think there's 1 or 2 more bolts that hold the fender to the bumper here. I gotta be careful with those so I don't break anything here. Is that it? Oh yeah, that's it. Some things to disconnect. It's a headlight cleaner that nobody ever uses. Kind of a daft idea if you ask me. There we are. Okay, that's disconnected. Did I miss any? It's entirely possible. Oh yeah, just a big one in the center. Usually by the time I'm able to buy these cars, this has been off like 35 times. I'm just gonna pop this off, but I don't really care. I'd be a little careful though. Alright. Can I unplug you, please? Alright, fine, we'll just pull the bulb out, I guess. Yeah. We'll just do it that way. Is that it? Oh yeah, that's off. Next, to get the fender all the way off, I need to remove the side skirt. Now, a lot of people will force these things down to get to the 10mm bolts that hold this to the body, but I am not those people. We're going to take this out the correct way because we have the tools and the time. There is no need to bend things and ruin them. None at all. These have some clips along the bottom. Ooh, she feels loose. That's not what I meant. Okay, there's more in here. Now we just got to pop off this little sill plate. These are kind of violent. At least I remember them being kind of violent. We'll have to retrieve the clips out and put them back into this and yada yada. All right, I think we're about ready here. Whoa. I think we're about there. Let's close the door if I can. Uh-oh. Oh, there's stuff in there. But what isn't here is rust. That is awesome. All right, I can just leave it like this because I can get to these 2 bolts. All right, we are 4 bolts away, I think. I've got 1 bolt. Actually, a swivel socket ought to do her. Well, that was easy. All right, now I need to get this off here, and then I'm gonna have to pull the inner fender to get the other one back on. This one doesn't. What is going on here? It is unhappy. Well, we got pretty much all the damaged parts off. There's a little bit of damage to the inner fender here. I'm not sweating it. I think the next step is to try to fit the fender in place, but I need to get this hung down so that I have access to get those two. So we're gonna do that next. Now give me enough wiggle room. Oh, that fell off. That's fine. I really need to take this off to make this job easier. I don't want to take anything off I don't have to, but it's just a wheel. Okay, I'm pulling it off. Thank you. It's got really nice tires on. Don't even look at what kind of tires they are. They are Bridgestone drive guards, so that's pretty decent. That'd be good for winter. All right, now we can zip out the rest of this inner fender. That's pretty decent. I only got one bolt holding it in. I might as well take the whole thing out. All right, inner fender is out. Ooh, it has Bilsteins. It's a shame that one's probably bent. Dang. Maybe I can, use the old forklift frame machine. Pop that thing out, but I'm pretty sure this is bent. That's a bummer. I gotta figure out what shocks to put on it. I guess I'll put a couple Bilsteins on the front of it. I guess. Let's put a fender on it. Now we can set the fender. Right. I'm running into some stuff up here. Oh, I think I see why. I don't see why. I think this is bent a little bit. It's bent. What if nope. We're gonna have to work on that a little. I think this is, yeah, that's bent. Oh no. How will we ever fix that? Like that. That's how we're gonna do it. We just untotal this thing. Just like that. Well, we're in the neighborhood. Yeah, that's pretty good. Look at that. Fixed! I'm just kidding. We got to put all the bolts in it. Let's just start adding some hardware. I'm not going to cinch anything down yet. Okay, those are in. Right there. I'm pretty content with the gaps. I got some more bolts to get in there. We have the bolts that I can't really get to with the fender liner in place. But with it gone, well, that's cake. Chocolate cake. And then I've got one at the front. We'll get our body line set. We'll close the hood, make sure we're good. And then we'll get her tight. I think that'll do it. We got them all in. Let's move all of our junk, which isn't much. We'll close our hood. So it needs to come out a little bit. The hood did not want to close on this latch. Or I left something right here. Let's find out. Did I leave anything? I don't see anything. It could be that this is bent just a little. There's not really much supporting this right now. Oh, that's why. There's not much supporting this. So I'm going to carefully. Honestly, that's pretty decent. Yeah, that's good. I'm happy. You don't strive for perfection with a car like this. However, we can get pretty close. And pretty close is perfect. All right, now we're going to snug these things up. You don't have to go too crazy. It's a plastic fender, remember that. Yeah, that's good. Let's get the rest of these tight. These two in. I'm going to do these by hand because I don't want to break anything. Okay, fender is bolted in. The gap's a little big at the bottom. Not a fan. Let's fix that. Yeah, that's good enough. All right, hit this with the old buffer. Like gloves. Now we're going to put the skirt back on it. And sandwiches between the skid shields on the bottom, like so. Bada bing, bada bang. Clipperines back in. I gotta somehow free these clips. These are not enjoyable clips to deal with. These are suboptimal is the word I like to use. They're not terrible, but they're also not great. I think half of that problem is their location. And it feels like you break every single one. But you don't. Two more. Wow. That was rough. Slide these back in here. When I work on cars, I like to make sure everything that came off goes back on. And if it doesn't, then it doesn't go back on. That doesn't make any sense. What I mean to say is, I usually don't have extra bolts. Unless I think I know more than the engineer. Sometimes I know more than the engineer, or at least I think I do. And getting these lined up is fun. Oh, I just knocked one off. No!
Okay.
Oh, I think we got a clip. Holding out on me. All right, now I get to put these things back in. These just push right in. Yeah, we're good. Time for the fender liner. This goes like, I don't know what I'm doing here. Oh, stuff is happening that I don't like. Hey, we're getting pretty close. Let's feed it some bolts. Well, this is all put back together. Got my side skirt popped in. Inner fender installed. All the hardware's back in. Again, I don't like taking stuff out and not putting it back in. And now we have to fix this. This is broken. Can't have that. And I have that. That doesn't make sense. Now it's time to install the headlight. Got my headlight here. I'm going to take the correct fasteners out momentarily. I'm sure there's going to be some shenaniganery with all this because the 328 that I got the headlight from, not a nice car. I'll just go with that. It's owned by and worked on by people that just did not make an effort. Connect the useless headlight squirter. Nobody uses those, and I mean it. Let's see here. What else? What else have we got? I gotta plug this thing in before I get too far ahead of myself. Where's the plug for you? Gotcha. That doesn't look too destroyed. Okay. Headlight is plugged in. All right, what goes down here? Anything? All right, I think we're okay to get some bolts tight on the headlight. All right, I think that was really easy. Now I'm gonna strip the damaged bumper. I'm gonna use the kidney grills, the lower grills, and the fog lights from this bumper because they're just in better shape or present. Ooh, that was harsh. Okay, well, the lower grill is kind of damaged on that side, and that one, and that one. Well, that's no bueno. How does this one look? Well, this one's black, and the other ones are gray. I think they're supposed to have gray from the factory. That is going to bother me, but I'm not going to care about it because this is just a beater. So now I need to get these kidney grills, which these are fun. And by fun, I mean these can be terrible. I can remember how to do this without destroying them. Hey, there's one. Well, this bumper's kind of broken. I mean, we're replacing it. All right, we got 2 kidneys. Now, this bumper's not in the best of shape, but it'll do. Yeah, perfect. Well, I had to stop for the evening. I gotta go, got family stuff. We will continue this in a bit, but it's pretty close. It needs front bumper. Really need to closely inspect the factory intercoolers for defects. And yeah, I mean, this thing sounds great. 170,000 miles. The other thing I really like about this car, it has no modifications. It's bone stock. No mods, which means that I'm going to leave this one alone. I'm not going to put any aftermarket parts on it. Nothing to see here. Don't mind me. It's totally normal. Nothing to see. One side came right out. There we are. We're just looking, okay? We're just gonna look at it. We're not gonna do anything too crazy. We're not. We're just gonna look at it. Look at all that debris and stuff. See? Look. See? See, this one doesn't have that problem.
Then I'm going to leave this one alone. I'm not going to put any aftermarket parts on it.
I'm rationalizing modding this thing. Stop it. Now, I'm not sure if you guys are going to believe me or not, but I actually had no idea that intercooler had damage. None at all. It just did. I am glad I looked. This one just is a little bit better in the better category. What's nice being a manual, I don't have to deal with the transmission cooler. Well, the intercooler's on. That was not that much fun. The intercooler pipes fit tighter than Richard Simmons shorts, which is not a great thing, but it shouldn't leak. And apparently, we had a boost leak right there. That was previous damage. Had no idea. I actually thought I was just going to make a joke about modding the car, but it turns out I'm fixing it. Yeah. I wonder if I need to fix the downpipes and the tune and the turbos and the exhaust and the charge pipes and the inject. Yeah, I need to fix all that stuff. We're not going to do that. Then we got to put this doohickey back on. Sure, everything fits perfectly the same as it did before. Come on now, go to your home. Well, now it is time to install this beautiful black bumper. Triple B's, if you will. Just gonna kind of loosely set it there. I know I got a lot of stuff to plug in. We're gonna work on that. Probably work on that first. I can do this down here. Okay. So there's a few things I'm not quite sure how I'm going to get done, and this is one of them. I think I've got to put the bumper on first. Oh, hey now. This is fun. I'm having a great time. I'm going to get a couple bolts loosely in the front of it, on the top of it, so that it kind of holds it in place. Yeah. That's happier. And put a little screw in down here, maybe? No, it doesn't look like we're ready for that. Looks like we're close. Maybe down here. I really want one in this area here. There we are. Fixed! I'm just kidding. There's a lot of work left. And by a lot, I mean there's some. It's not a ton, but it's also not a little. This is coming out pretty good. All right, I have no idea how this is going to work. We're going to try this. I'm trying to booger it up. I'm sure there's a bunch of people laughing at me right now, and there's a better way. But this is what I'm going to do. No! I might just glue those things shut. I don't really care. Nobody needs headlight washers. It's not a real necessity. Now on this one, the springs aren't stretched out, so I think this one will be better. Don't put a hole in my hand. Please don't. Ah! So what gives with the other side? Well, it all went pretty smooth. Again, this is not a perfect bumper. There's a bunch of damage at the bottom. Don't know why this fits like this. I understand that this may go flying off, but I have an extra that's also in not good shape. But I think it has to do with something that keeps these springs together. It looks like that one's glued. I don't know. I'm sure someone in the comments will answer that one. This side, I noticed that this has been repaired. I don't think I worked on this before. I would have used a Torx bit. And then a Phillips. That's cool. I don't really care. Again, this is going to be kind of a daily driver. I'm not striving for perfection. There's a little bit of damage here and at the bottom. It's not going to go flying off while I'm driving down the highway, and that's all I really care about. Do this and see how this hood closes. Watch this screw me over and not be able to open again. I tested it. Don't worry. This side doesn't want to latch. That's cool. Seems to line up okay. This car has hail damage too. Notice that. Actually, that might have happened in my shop. Well, I gave it a real quick wash. This is not detailed by any stretch. The paint is, I mean, it's a black BMW that's at this point, what, 16 years old? But it does look a lot better. Came out pretty nice. This car is not done. It's unwrecked for the most part. The body is fixed. I need to get a tow hook cover. Wait a minute. Wait just a minute. Okay, now, oh, thank God. A little bit of moisture in that headlight. I got to figure out where that's coming in. It's probably a seal on the back housing where you get access to the bulbs. But the corner looks pretty good. Still need to do front shocks. I got a bunch of mechanical / maintenance work to do to this thing before I feel like trusting it all of the time. But it runs and drives pretty good. I've already driven this thing. I've already tested it pretty thoroughly.
Never a dull minute when you hang out with ID Cars. We ran out of gas, and now we're going to pull this 3/4 ton truck with a blown up engine in the back to the shop with a BMW.
I haven't really done anything with the interior. It's still really dirty in here. I do need to get a better battery. I don't think this one's going to come back. It's kind of coming back, but I also had it running for like an hour. Needs a healthy cleaning. I got to get all the wrecked parts out of it now that it's for the most part put back together. There's the shocks. We just got those in today. I wonder if it'll start. This thing's not going to start. There's no way. There's no way that this starts. Oh, maybe it doesn't need a battery. So we got to figure out why it's got an airbag light on. That's probably washer fluid. Service engine soon. I bet, and I'm not trying to give anything away because I haven't scanned it or anything. TPMS inactive. I bet someone kneeled on that seat and broke the occupancy mat, or it's got a seatbelt buckle problem because it's a BMW. I also want to pull the engine cover. I want to check the plugs, see what those look like. Check the coils, make sure it doesn't need a valve cover gasket. We're going to look at the injectors to see what kind of injectors it have, if it has index 12 or index 11s, or if it has index 1s. I want to know. So all the mechanical scanning, everything wrong with this thing, we'll do that in the next video. I'm going to take my time filming that because I'm putting this car together for myself, and I want to make sure that everything is good. No way. A BMW with, wait, one. See, this is why I decided to fix it. 2 working cup holders. Amazing. Heat seems to work. When it was hot, the AC worked. This is a pretty decent car, even though it's got 170,000 miles on it, which is definitely on the high end for bringing something like this back. I'm not scared. So I really enjoy putting cars back on the road that were once totaled. Now, the word totaled means different things to different people. If you ask an insurance company what totaled means, they'd say something like, if the cost of the repair exceeds 70 or 75% of the value of the vehicle, it's a total loss. And sometimes if it's just a flood or a fire, regardless of the cost of repair, it's an instant total loss. They don't even mess around with that. But in the case of the repair, they're considering a new bumper cover if they can't source a used one, probably a new or used headlight, which are retail price, a used fender at retail price, and then to paint and blend and make sure the parts are perfect. A car is going to look perfect, which is going to be kind of dumb on a car like this when the rest of the car isn't perfect. But when an insurance company is footing the bill for a repair, they don't want any liability in suboptimal repair. Now, I'm not going to say that this repair isn't good. This is perfectly fine compared to the condition of the car, and that's where the deals can be made. Because if you know how to source parts, if you know how to work on cars, and you know how to track stuff down, then fixing a car like this is kind of a duh. And this is an easy way to get a car that's kind of fun to drive. It's a cool car for not a lot of money. And in the eyes of most enthusiasts, this was an easy repair. This is not a difficult one. Of course, it took me several months to find a car that was in the same color, that had good front end panels, or at least panels that were good enough. This is just going to be I hate the term beater, because it's not a beater. I'm not going to thrash it. I'm not going to leave it dirty all the time. I like to take care of everything I own, regardless of how expensive it may be or not. But it is going to be a winter car. Most of my other cars I put up for winter, and I'm tired of only driving automatics during the winter. This car caught my eye in the spring. I picked it up. It's been sitting here ever since, and now it is, well, it's not done. Are they ever? Regardless, in the next video, I'll go through this thing completely mechanically. Hopefully, we're going to put front shocks on it. I think it needs a passenger side mirror glass. We'll get that taken care of. I want to check the plugs, check for oil leaks. We'll get it in the air, see if there's any other damage that I missed, which there isn't any other. I didn't miss any damage. Everything was here. Regardless, there will be one other video in the future. I don't know when that will be. I do have some of the parts here. I'm going to film it as I have time. But I wanted to show you guys bringing another one back. And as of late, I've kind of adopted a new policy as far as my videos are concerned. Of course, you're always going to find a teardown every single weekend. I will always have one for you. But I do stuff on cars every single week. It's not just filming a teardown and then that's all I do. I sit at my desk the rest of the time. No, I'm actually working on stuff because I enjoy it so much. So I might as well film it. That's kind of my new philosophy. I really hope you enjoyed this revival, if you want to call it that. As always, I love all the comments, all the feedback, and even the criticism. I love it all, and I'll catch you on the next one. And I'm not going to modify it. I might.